Good morning, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. This week we read about the birth of Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu. And for the rest of the Torah, until Simchat Torah, every single week, we're going to read about Moses. And you know, every biblical figure has a title. Avraham, Abraham, Avinu, our father. Joseph HaTzadik, Yosef the Tzadik. David HaMelech, David the king. Eliyahu HaNavi, Elijah the prophet. But there's only one biblical figure who has the title Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher, the greatest teacher ever, the one who gave us the Torah from Mount Sinai, with the 613 commandments. And just something fascinating, if you take the two Hebrew words, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher, 8 letters, and you add up the numerical value of the letters, because every letter has a number that it corresponds to, the words Moshe Rabbeinu equal 613, the 613 commandments that Moses taught us. But here's what's fascinating. The name Moshe means he was drawn from the water, because the daughter of Pharaoh rescued him from the Nile. So Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch asks, his name should have been Mashui, because he was drawn from the water. Moshe represents the act of Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh, who rescued him. Moshe, she drew him from the water, but he was the one who was drawn from the water. Why is he called Moshe? He should have been Mashui, the one who was drawn. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch says that the name Moshe wasn't just his name, it was his mission statement in life. In other words, just like your life was rescued through an act of kindness, that the daughter of Pharaoh extended her hand to save you from the Nile, from the decree of death, you must become one who draws others from the water. You have to become a Moshe, one who will draw others and rescue the lives of all others, to do unto others the kindness that you were the recipient of, that you received in your life. Now bestow that kindness upon others. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu does. As a boy growing up in the palace, in the comfort and the luxury of Pharaoh's palace, he goes out to see the plight of his brethren and stands up to defend his fellow Jews and to rescue them from the slavery. And then when he is informed on and he flees to Midian, he sees the daughters of Jethro being pushed to the... And he once again stands up to rescue the daughters of Jethro from the shepherds, to allow them to shepherd their flock. He becomes one who extends himself to care for others. And that is the message. Before you become Moshe Rabbeinu, before you become the great leader, the teacher of Torah, and you have such a great mind that you could be the greatest teacher ever, first you have to have a great heart. You have to be a Moshe. You have to care about the plight of others. You have to extend yourself for others. You have to show kindness to others. And then you could become a great teacher, because Torah is not just an intellectual, academic pursuit. It's about the actions we take, the mitzvot we do. And therefore the heart, the goodness, and the kindness has to precede the great intellectual accomplishments. The intellectual accomplishments of Torah has to be rooted in the heart of goodness and kindness and love and generosity and caring for our fellow man. During the COVID years, there was boys who could not have bar mitzvot and girls who couldn't have bat mitzvot, because we weren't allowed to leave our homes and the synagogues were closed. And so someone arranged a Zoom call for a group of hundreds of bar mitzvah boys who didn't have a bar mitzvah. Now imagine, every child looks forward to becoming 13 and having a bar mitzvah, and suddenly there's COVID and you can't leave your home and you can't have a bar mitzvah. And they invited Rabbi Israel Me'alau, the chief rabbi of Israel, to speak to these kids, to encourage them, because they were a little despondent that they couldn't have a bar mitzvah. Rabbi Lau addressed these boys who didn't have a bar mitzvah, and he said, I want to tell you a story. He said, I was a survivor of Buchenwald. My parents were murdered, my grandparents were murdered, my relatives were murdered, and I survived with my older brother Naphtali. I came to Israel at the age of 8 years old as an orphan. He says, I was raised by my uncle, Rabbi Mordechai Fogelman, in Kiryat Motzkin. He said 5 years later was bar mitzvah. And the community came together to make a bar mitzvah for me, for this orphan Holocaust survivor boy. And they asked everyone to come to celebrate with me, because I didn't have any family. The synagogue was packed with guests. When they took out the Torah, I put on my talit and went up to read the Torah, that I had prepared the whole Torah portion in honor of my bar mitzvah. Suddenly the elderly gabbai of the synagogue, a man by the name of Rabbi Moshe, comes up to read Torah. Everyone looks at him and says, there's a bar mitzvah boy today. And the old man says, well, no one told me that. I prepared the Torah portion. They said, oh, we're so sorry, but it's his bar mitzvah. He just prepared the bar mitzvah parsha. And the old man says, I never get to read Torah in front of an entire packed synagogue, and now I prepared it, and you're going to tell me I can't read it? Rabbi Lau told these boys, I looked at this old man, and I saw how broken he was, how sad he was. He was about to cry. And I turned to him and I said, you know what? Go ahead, you read the Torah. I'm a young boy. I'll have many opportunities to read Torah in my life, God willing. You go. And I walked off the bima and let him read the Torah portion that I had prepared. And Rabbi Lau said, when I look back now, thank God, I've been blessed to become the chief rabbi of Israel. I've had many opportunities to read Torah and to speak Torah in front of very large audiences. But I look back and I'm so proud of the fact that as a bar mitzvah boy, the first mitzvah I did was let an old man read Torah and get the recognition that he so much desired and so much craved. Yes, we all should strive to be Rabbeinus, great teachers, great students of Torah. But remember, it all begins with an act of kindness, with an act of love, with an act of sacrifice, because the whole purpose of Torah is to be implemented and translated into day-to-day good deeds. Have a wonderful Shabbat.